Hello and hello. Welcome back to the Undisputed Champ YouTube boxing channel. If you like the videos I've already put out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. Road to 500. We are ongoing. So guys, please help me out. Let's get there. And yeah, let's get into the video of today. Today we're talking about the Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin post-fight review. And it's always interesting to talk about a fighter that's coming off losses, especially a top level fighter that is coming off a couple of losses, and then analyzing their first fights back and seeing how they basically react to the losses. And in this video, guys, as much as I'm going to talk a lot and give a few of my thoughts, I really want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So if you could get in the comment section, even message me, DM me, anything, just let me know your thoughts because I don't want it to be me being in like an echo chamber of just listening to myself and going over I really want to hear what you guys have to think, have to say about this fight and what your guys' thoughts on AJ going forward. But yeah, on to this fight. Firstly, everybody in the heavyweight division took losses. Historically, everybody has taken losses. Muhammad Ali, the greatest heavyweight of all time, took losses. Mike Tyson, one of the most exciting heavyweights of all time, took losses. Lennox Lewis, one of the most skilled heavyweights of all time, took losses. Vladimir Klitschko, Joe Lewis, two of the most long-reigning heavyweights of all time, took losses. So AJ taking losses, there's nothing wrong with that. He will obviously be disappointed in himself that he couldn't beat Usyk those two times and that he lost to Andy Ruiz, but he's in the heavyweight division, so he's going to take losses. Interestingly, he's come back. He's fought a guy in Jermaine Franklin, who I think is a decent fighter. And before the fight, I said that felt this fight was going to go to points because AJ not only fighting a very skilled fighter in Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin has a very good amateur background. He was a Golden Gloves champ in the US. You can see that in his technique. He double jabbed excellently. He moved his feet well. He came in extremely light so he could move. He had good head movement up until about round 8. So Jermaine Franklin is a well-schooled fighter, small on the smaller side of things and shorter, but well-schooled fighter. And I just knew that AJ with a new trainer, it's going to take a while for it to gel. And I remember when someone first told me that a fighter fighting with a new trainer, they're not always going to get it in their first fight or even their second fight. It takes a few fights for it to click. And a perfect example of that is Amir Khan. When Amir Khan went with Virgil Hunter, his first fight and his second fight was still a bit ropey. But in that third fight, I think it was against Devon Alexander, he looked amazing. He looked like it was as if he perfected the Virgil Hunter style, and he looked excellent in there. And that's probably something that's going to take AJ some time to get used to the Derek James style. Derek James he throws single power punches. That's sort of the style I get. Someone like Errol Spence, someone like Jamel Charlo, very consistent applied pressure, but you don't throw a lot of punches, low volume but hard punches. And it's going to take AJ some time because AJ is a combination puncher at heart, or has been. So for him to just start throwing single shots, single hard shots, picking his punches, being a bit more circumspect, it's going to take time for him to get used to that sort of style. And I'm honest, I don't really think that style suits him. I preferred it when AJ was throwing combos. And when we look at the fight, it kind of AJ didn't really change his style throughout the whole fight. He sort of stood in front of Jermaine Franklin from round 1 to round 12. He threw a jab. It was a very heavy jab. He threw a right hand behind it. He tried a little bit with the left uppercut and then went away from it, and then tried a little bit with the left hook to the body. Wasn't consistent with it, and yeah, just tried to literally just pound the life out of Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin did well at moving his head, and he showed a very good chin because he ate a few punches from Joshua clean. So he showed a good chin to handle that. But Jermaine didn't go anywhere. He kept rushing in with a double jab, quick feet, decent head movement, and gave AJ a few issues in there. He caught AJ a few times, nothing too heavy, so AJ's chin was able to stand up to it. But it wasn't. It to me, it wasn't an explosive fight, and if anything, I thought it was quite a boring fight. I thought AJ was in control throughout majority of the rounds. I gave Jermaine Franklin 2 rounds, but AJ was in control of the majority of the fight. AJ couldn't stop Jermaine, couldn't really seriously hurt Jermaine either. And yeah, just it was a bit of a boring fight to me. I know some people would have said, "Oh, what an interesting fight, AJ back and forth," but to me, it was boring. It was a boring fight. AJ couldn't overextend himself and get the knockout. AJ couldn't overextend himself and seriously hurt Jermaine, um, and he just looked a bit rough in there. There was parts in the later rounds where AJ was putting his hand around the back of Jermaine's head and trying to push his head down whilst throwing the uppercut up, which just looked weird and ungainly. And yeah, it wasn't a good fight. It wasn't a good fight. I think for AJ, he needs these type of fights. Unfortunately, he needs maybe another one or two of these fights just for him to perfect the Jermaine Franklin style as much as he can before flying in with a Fury. But based off that performance I just saw, if he was to go and fight Tyson Fury, it's a definite L. If he was going to fight Usyk again, it's a definite L. Um, he needs some time to progress. He needs some time to progress. And if I was his handler, as I said, I'd give him the two more warm up fights of someone of Franklin's level before stepping him up. But me as a fan, I don't really want to see the two more warm up fights. I would love the next fight to be Joe Joyce. I think that would be an absolutely a phenomenal fight because Joe is going to stand in front of AJ, and it looks like AJ is going to stand in front of Joe, and then they're going to swing it out. Joe's got really slow hands and slow feet, so he's going to be easy to hit, but he has an excellent chin, and AJ had now is just throwing single punches, so I think he'll be there for Joe Joyce to hit, and then it might just come down to who's got the better chin, and if it comes down to that, then I'll edge Joe Joyce. If AJ's not going to throw combos like he used to, and he's not going to throw a variety of punches, then look, I'm giving Joe the edge in that fight. If AJ does find his combination punching back, then I'll lean back towards AJ. But yeah, as I said, not a great fight. AJ's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of work to do to try and get back to where he was before. Firstly, he needs to work on his ring craft, but secondly, he needs to work on his confidence. He needs to be confident in his stamina. He needs to be confident in his power, and he needs to be confident in his chin. I'm not saying leave your chin out there to dry, but obviously when you step into a war zone, you need to be able to trust that your chin can stand up to that war. So he needs to gain confidence back in his chin. Overall, I'm not writing AJ off. I think he's still got a lot to offer the heavyweight division. And yeah, I hope the best. I hope he can find his form back, man. I was talking with my cousin actually, and he said that mid period AJ around the just before the Joseph Parker fight, that was the best AJ that we saw, man. When he was on violence, the Dylan White run after Joseph Parker fight, he was on violence then. And if we can find that AJ back with maybe a little bit more security in terms of his chin and in terms of his defense, if he can find that old AJ back and just bring a little bit more defense and security in, then that's the perfect AJ for us. But until then, boy, AJ, it's gonna be tough to see you in there with the top heavyweights. It's gonna be difficult, but let's see, man. Anyways, peace.